program is not tight enough. That is the topic of today. I was listening to some Wes Watson this morning, and one thing he said was around his program, his morning routine. Your routine, same thing. It just, your routine is called your program in prison, so that's what he calls it. And one thing Wes said was, if I don't have my program completely dialed in, then everything, I cannot see my vision, everything kind of falls apart. I cannot see myself as this, I cannot feel good about myself, all this stuff. And I've really noticed this when it comes to my own direct experience. I've really noticed that when I run the tightest program, I feel good. I feel like $1 million. I feel like I'm going to make it. I feel that I am on track. I feel productive, all that stuff. And I was really grateful for that reminder this morning, because even though I woke up at 2:45 a.m. with a good night's sleep, got myself, 7 to 8 hours, which is really good, I still didn't really feel on top of everything, because I didn't really have a schedule. I'm just kind of going on by feel. And I realized that is not the way to go, at least for me. I believe it comes from the book Indistractable, where if you want to be able to be a lot more productive and not to be distracted, you need to know what you are being distracted from. You see, if you don't even lay out what you're supposed to be doing, then it's not even clear to your mind that you are even distracted. It only becomes clear much later, when it's 10 hours into your day and you don't really feel like you've done too much. I really noticed this. And that's okay. That what the past is the past. The only thing I can change now is how I act in the present. And just how I feel is going to inform me on how I need to act next. Another thing he said in that episode, another thing Wes said in the episode that was very helpful for me, was that when you complete your first step, the second step will reveal itself. Whatever is screaming the loudest at you, you solve that first. And then you go to the next thing, and then the next thing. Makes total sense. And so for me, this morning, it was not feeling productive. And I was like, yeah, makes total sense. Schedule my day completely, schedule it such that it's structured well, spend time such that I can even come up with the activities that I have to be doing. Because I know what I have to be doing. I have a mind map just across the room here on all the things that I could be focusing on. And then the challenge becomes, what do I prioritize first? And sometimes that's not really clear. Sometimes it's just a bunch of monotonous tasks. And how do you even organize that based on importance? And you should organize the most cognitively difficult tasks first. And And also the ones that are, kind of loosey-goosey, where the result isn't quite tangible, that's also more difficult to structure. Really, the only way you can structure that is by time put in. And even then, you gotta think of like, hey, what exactly are you doing in that time? But enough about me. I want to flip this onto you. Imagine how you would feel if you woke up perfectly on time and then you ran for the first 3 hours of your day, a extremely tight routine, an extremely tight program where you don't really waste much of your time. I noticed the first hours of your day always go by so quickly anyways. So why not jam pack that with a bunch of emotionally difficult tasks that are designed to grow you? Self-inflicted adversity, all that jazz. Things that require a lot of cognitive load. And just see how you feel. And just see with that momentum just how much more you get done in that day. If you're the kind of person that wakes up at whatever time, then you're going to really notice a huge difference in the momentum that you have for your day, as opposed to if you chose to wake up exactly at the same time every day. Personally, I'm the kind of personality that is so laid back, so laissez-faire. Live and let live, just be in the moment, that I will naturally just go to bed at whatever time and wake up at whatever time. And over the years, through lots of suffering, I've learned that is the absolute worst way to live. It's a lot more better for your health. It's a lot better for your mind, even if it's emotionally uncomfortable, which is counterintuitive. It's a lot better if you can just lean into that emotionally difficult task of ending your day on time, going to bed on time, waking up on time, and then doing all these positive habits for your body and your mind. Reading, writing, working out, and doing it like clockwork. I noticed my best memories of productivity, of stints of productivity, was when I was writing my book, or when I was putting massive amount of time into the book. And I was extreme, so I got up, stretched for the first 20 minutes, worked out for the next 20 minutes, and then took the last 20 minutes to shower and get dressed, to then in the next hour on the dime, on the hour, I would start writing my book. And I would write pomodoros, or 50 minutes at a time, 25 minutes at a time, depending on how difficult I was feeling the book. I would do that for the next 5 hours. I would be writing. And that was intense. That was extremely emotionally difficult. But when it came to a task like book writing, that was a grueling process for me. I realized that the number one thing I had to do was just put in the volume, and to just put in, and to support that volume, to install a rock solid routine such that I'll just get it done. And I think that's what everyone has to do when it comes to creating a result, regardless of how you feel about the results creation process. And even if you really enjoy it, I think it's really good to have that rock solid routine, such that you have your first hour and a half, let's say, to get your workout in, get your morning affirmations or visualization, whatever, your shower done, and then and pride yourself on the start times. I have a couple notebooks lying around here where I literally just write down and track the times that I start things and the times that I finish. So, you know, I'll of course, when I'm doing my one thing after another, I'll just take note of the time in my mind, or I'll just quickly write it down on my phone. But then I'll actually transfer it onto my book. Like, okay, workout started at like 5:20 a.m. If I woke up at 5, right? Or a workout started at 5:23 a.m. Like, you know, and it'll be like a little mind game too, because I notice like, oh, like I'm a little off. I'm 3 minutes off. And it's really interesting to notice that when you are just even off by a minute, you kind of feel bad about yourself. But what's interesting is that being on time by the exact minute is possible. It just requires a tremendous amount of focus, a tremendous amount of will towards actually creating that result. And I've really noticed this, that it's possible, and when I don't nail things like that, when I set out a program for myself like that and I don't nail it on the minute, then I don't feel nearly as good. I feel off. And then the times that I do nail it by the minute, I feel great. I'm like, yeah, like I'm unstoppable. Like I can control myself that efficiently, that well. It's a really interesting self-esteem booster. And what I'll close with is a story that Wes Watson told, that for like, I don't know, some number of stupid amount of years, there was a story where this guy would walk around this corner at the same minute every single day, like clockwork. And so they wait, guys telling Wes this, and they wait, and lo and behold, guy comes around the corner at that time. And it makes me think a lot about the level of routine, the kind of mind you need to create to even have that level of routine every single day. Because in prison, as Wes would explain, he would say you were judged on your level, that the way you ran your program, how tightly you ran your program. Basically, how well could you stick to your routines? And I found that very interesting. Like, that is what garnered respect in a penitentiary. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. That's what garnered respect around there. Which totally makes sense, because that really is the most emotionally difficult thing to do. And also at the same time, that is the most valuable thing. The most valuable thing is to be able to control yourself so much that you can create these you can manifest these behaviors from yourself, and you can control yourself so well that you can make yourself align with all these timestamps. And what happens, if you've ever even managed to create this kind of life for yourself for a week or for a month, where it's just extremely regimented, what happens is you just get an insane amount of volume done, an insane amount of work done, and a lot of personal growth happens through that too. Because let's say that's your goal, what I've noticed is that to even get to that point where you can even run a routine close to the minute or even on the minute, to even get to that point, to even get close, that's a whole other deal. And then a whole nother echelon above is to get it on the minute every time. And a whole nother echelon above is to get it, close or on the minute for a long period of time, every day, regardless of what happens, who wants your attention, who wants to spend time with you, blah, 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 blah. No matter what happens, no matter how you're feeling sick, you're feeling, your leg is messed up, or, your shoulder's pulled, or whatever it is, how are you going to stick to your program? How efficiently are you going to stick to your program? Certain occasion made you stay late, or you worked too late in the night, or you had to finish something. How are you going to pull out next day? It's not necessarily about being able to make the perfect day, but what I will say is being able to make the perfect day is a skill in itself. Like, can you actually make just one perfect day? Can you even do that? Just one. And then to stack it one day after another. I found that extremely inspiring for me. And it's definitely one of those ideals that I'm shooting for every day. And today, it's just been such a reminder that, it's 2024. We're nearly a week into 2024 here, and I'm not yet running an extreme tight program like I would like to. I'm finally got myself down to the wake up time that I want to be at. But then to take that and, all right, step 1, wake up time, done. Step 2, routine, of what you actually do. Down to the minute, such that it's not, it's not just the, the reading and the workout. What's next? What's after that? Your ability to hold together a longer and longer routine. It's one thing to have an hour routine and then to just leave the rest of the day up to chance. It's another thing to have, a 3-hour routine, a 5-hour routine, a 10-hour routine, where your whole day is just a routine, right? You're going in through the motions of just creating your life and self-actualizing, actualizing your life purpose, awakening yourself, becoming more conscious, learning more, learning how to make money, learning how to create value, making yourself into a much more valuable individual. It all comes down to your routines and how well you can run your own routines. How tight are you able to make your routines? And what can be difficult is we are pretty much blinded. We all have a huge blind spot of where we could be, because a lot of us don't really have reference points of morning routines where we think we're at our maximum or our optimum. Someone else with the same capacity as us is able to churn out much more. And I find that a very interesting idea to think about, is how am I wasting time? How am I not being as disciplined as I could be? What are all the ways that I can make this even more efficient? And then also, what are ways I can maximize the amount of volume of output and maximize the intensity of my input? And I really find that interesting. So, with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.